those are some challenging times. I mean, that was one of the most difficult and transformative years of my life. Robin Hood, you know, rob from the rich, you know, spend with those in the hood. So where we currently are is what's today a check cashing place, in the parking lot of a check cashing place. But back in 92, 93, it was a Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was a KFC. So on the side of the building, that's why it looks kind of weird. You see this glass right here on the side of the building. This was actually part of a drive-through. And I'm sharing that with you because during that time, me in my teenage years, my cousin and I, since the statute of limitation is passed, I can speak about it, but we had carjacked somebody right here. So, matter of fact, the car was a blue 500 SEL Benz. And we had this thing when we jacked, unfortunately, but it was basically asking the person what time it was. So this is a clue for you. Ask them what time it was. If they gave us a time, we say, no, it's time for you to break yourself. If they didn't give us a time or didn't know the time, we say, it's time for you to break yourself. All right, so it's the same answer either way it went, but it was more of a distraction. And this is one of the ones that really stuck with me because I later learned because we got his car and all that kind of stuff, but in the car, there were golf clubs in the trunk. There was a snatch out radio that was popular back then. There was a lot of stuff, but it had a name on there and it was a foreign name. Years later, after becoming Muslim, I come to find out this guy's a Muslim and actually operates, and I've seen him and he's helped my family and stuff like that with what he does with his business. Of course, I never brought that up regarding the situation, but yeah, there's something that happened. About 1992, 93 for my cousin and them. We didn't want anything in particular. We didn't want to catch the bus. So we were standing basically over there on that bus stop, and it was wintertime. We wanted to go to the mall, that Northridge Mall. It was janky, really, really cold. So we decided to come over and jack him. He was cooperative, wasn't really an issue. Never got caught on that. But yeah, just a little story from the youth about where I'm from here in Milwaukee. I'm in this alley right now, and today, beautiful day, out here, free. But in 1993, one summer evening in June, it wasn't necessarily a nice day. Of course, it wasn't sunny, it was nighttime, but it was a little more sinister reason. We had a car parked over here because this was the getaway route. Now, what had happened earlier that day, this was more turbulent time of my life, I would say, or turbulent time of my life where, as a teenager, that night was already high, smoking weed, coming from seeing Menace to Society, maybe for the 4th or 5th time from Northridge Mall. And we decided, yo, let's go ahead and bust a move, break some people off, hit something, right? So, scoped the area for a little bit, figured that'd be a good getaway area. And we now in the parking lot of a place that I would actually frequent to buy shakes and burgers and all kind of stuff. Matter of fact, that night I bought, well, I didn't buy, someone else bought that was with us, you know, the 2 other gentlemen, yeah, speaking loosely because at that time we were not. But somebody else was buying, we set it up, made some things happen, got away, big adrenaline rush. And I didn't like being in a state of inebriation or being high or intoxicated at all when, you know, we would bust moves or, you know, do armed robberies or anything like that. But thankfully, nobody was hurt, anything like that. And at that time, they didn't have the window, kind of the outside area where you would have to go on the inside. It wasn't on the inside area. It was just, you know, here, maybe about 100 or so people out in the parking lot. We did our thing, spread everybody out, ran down there, got away. It is what it is. And thankfully, not long after, I ended up getting locked up as a juvenile or detained as a juvenile for something totally unrelated to this, but I can speak about this now because the statute of limitation is definitely gone, and everybody involved in it has grown up now, has definitely matured. So you know, it is what it is. They still should have better security. Those are some challenging times. I mean, that was one of the most difficult and transformative years of my life. Just looking at what I've been through, what I've been around, different influences and so on, and the things I chose to partake in, you know? And this is the sound of the city I'm from that you will hear frequently. Didn't happen that night back in '93. Nevertheless, it is what it is. Sometimes you live to tell the tale. Not proud of it, but it is part of, you know, helping me understand the realities out here and the importance of choices and decisions. In early 1993, it was about this spot right here or in this area. A cousin and I and another gentleman were, and I'm saying gentlemen loosely, the gentleman now. We are here at what's known as Mayfair Mall. It was known as Mayfair Mall back then, but it wasn't Macy's. I think it was like Boston store prior to, and came to the parking lot because we were looking for somebody to carjack. And I was, again, 16 years old at the time, and we did that same thing I mentioned about, you know, ask some person, you know what time it is. And they had one of two options, either yes or no. And it was either yes, it's time for you to break yourself, or it was no, time for you to break yourself. That's what time it was. And really, though this was considered later to be my first offense, it wasn't. It was kind of the first time getting caught. It was a guy with a Saturn. And we asked him the question, got the keys, everything else. Then we got in the vehicle, recognized his baby in the backseat, which is really janky. So instead of taking off with the car and the baby, we don't want to do that. I mean, we were doing stupid stuff, but we ain't about to take nobody's child. So we let him get his kid. Then we headed on out to the hood. And that's when I got in my first and only high-speed chase. It was during the wintertime, in January of that year. Got in a high-speed chase. I ended up getting away because there was another guy that was with us who wasn't in the vehicle with my cousin and I. And as I got out and ran towards the hood, if you will, because back then I had a philosophy. Robin Hood, you know, rob from the rich, still, you know, spend with those in the hood. That was my thinking. As warped as it was, I wasn't going to rob from people that looked like me, that had some similar struggles. But instead, you know, I rationalized taking from those who already had more that was kind of built on what I considered our struggles. So as I philosophized that, we were Robin Hood. So we were robbing from the rich, spending with those in the hood. And I made it to the house and everything else because the guy that was driving the other vehicle saw me, and my cousin ran just a dumb way, just ridiculous. He ended up getting caught, snitched. They came to get me the next morning and stuff like that. And I come to find out that he ended up getting caught on 3 different carjacking situations. And he had the keys with him and everything else. Matter of fact, the car that the other guy was driving to pick me up was one of those vehicles that was previously jacked. So yeah, it was crazy, crazy times back then. But again, part of that evolution. And prayerfully, the people that, you know, we have injured or caused any type of challenges or emotional or mental trauma to have healed from that as we, you know, have evolved beyond that point, if you will. So yeah, they told me I could never come up here again. Matter of fact, of course, I'm on the lot now. I've been back many times and no longer have stolen anything from anyone or any of the stores. But yeah, very pivotal point in my life, especially 1993. That was, I got caught, ended up getting probation for that. It was a 1 carjacking case, and it wasn't carjacking, it wasn't even called that at the time. It was like a strong arm robbery, something like that, because we didn't even have any weapons or anything. But, you know, here's what it is. I was party to a crime more than anything else, riding with my cousin, and it was a last minute thing to do, but no longer banned, and giving back to the community and choosing to do better after becoming Muslim. So that's the story of the beginning of 1993, which was a hell of a year.